afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda. We're off here to the exciting 1 vs 1 on Angerville here between this North Park fighting for the Soviet Union, for the glory of Comrade Stalin, and the 30th Tank Corps dealing here with Spanky fighting for the Wehrmacht in the south there versus the Soviets. With an MD-42 going to start here, he's also going straight for Mechanized assault, but fighting here for Germany for the, I don't know, let's just say 3rd Panzer Division, with infantry bulletins there for both sides. Park's got counter-attack, got motor and shock rifle frontline tactics, and for Park we're seeing just plenty of conscripts, though we got also a department company start there, actually, I missed that one just a bit. Maximum there, going west and east, bit of barbed wire to make it harder to hold the cut-off point there, good work. Spanky going for here, sort of common angle move for some players, basically wiring off so you can't just rush for the building, thusly holding this cut-off point, making things miserable. Though, as a general rule of thumb, I always, as the Wehrmacht in the south, prefer the west, since you're basically less likely to sort of be held down, because that's what happens here. You can basically be sort of pinned down by your opponent around this cut-off point. There we go, rushing in. In this case, the Pioneers, they weren't actually able to make it. Simply intimidated there by the Russians. Either way, again, the old here seems a bit of some problems here with this sort of move there from Part there, quickly sort of disrupting, throwing them off there. Of course, forcing them sort of have to deal with this and contain it. Overall, slowing down and sort of grab any kind of territory. So, a bit of a rough start there. More grenadiers on the way there for Spanky. Park's Max moving in, quickly wanted to sort of set it up there. Could, of course, trying to deal with the MD-42. So far they're constantly holding up decently, though of course they are beginning to suffer damage, they are beginning to suffer losses. We got the Maxim machine gun moving up there, points in the west being grabbed, we got another Maxim on the way there, so rather heavy approach on the Maxim side from Park, a bit rarer to see that from Surge, but again I suppose with the Brits out we are seeing a sort of lot of newer things being tried out to a certain extent, different things. Pioneers still pushed away. Mortar on the way there for Spanky. Granatneff approach to deal with this sort of pin there. We are seeing from him anymore, though he's just basically continued undisturbed, unworried, displaying some rather severe levels of cool there. Yeah, don't worry, it's only a cut-off point. They're only cutting off us from our resources, Heinz. Don't worry. We use this at all of the times. This is a German army, remember. We're not a bunch of pansies like the Americans or the British, yeah? No take up there though from Spanky. He's just basically biding his time here, it seems, waiting for that mortar to begin bombarding out that Maxim from the house here. Look at this, Yuri! They have toilet inside! What? You can't be true, this is lies, all lies! So double Maxims, double conscripts, and mines over here to cover up the big munitions there, good. Conscripts moving in. And there we go, mortar fire there, quickly forces Park there to have to pull back his Maxim just a bit, but at the same time he's not quite eager to just give up on the cut-off point, because he knows that, of course, things are going to be a bit easy there for Spanky, who now seems actually shifting a lot of his force towards the west anyway, so that rather means all this, to an extent, I think was a bit of a waste of time, allowing Park to gain more resources over Spanky, at least sort of initially. We got the 3rd Grenadier Squad there on the way, got on mortar firing. Approximate area there, obviously that's the only piece of culture to hold the point there from a southern assault. So not too shabby there. Maximum in there, leaving the east now open in theory to Spanky to push up quick, but he's not into that so far. 3rd Grenadier Squad there, no assault grenadiers for example, which could also be helpful a bit perhaps. Under the right circumstances. Can't do anything to lose men there, Sergei quite dead. Pulped by a mortar round. MD-42 moving up there, so 3 Grenadiers, 1 mortar there for Spanky. Pioneers about to run straight to the mine there. Deinhardt and Friedrich rather suffering there. And digging around the munition fuel there. Tag up, nothing further here from Spanky at the moment. Max being ready to open up here on the Grenadiers out in the open.
Supply lines have been cut.
Managed to just barely avoid the Maxim there, the Grenadiers might not quite have the same luck. Just beyond the view range there, showing the Maxim couldn't open up immediately. Doing decently, engineers beginning to suffer losses. Constantly forcing. And there go flamethrowers, as if going to make it difficult for the Grenadiers to hold up, and they're going to be basically forced out of cover there. good work. MD42 doing attempt to deal with the engineers there. Max of course trying to deal with them. Of course, also got the mortar joining in here. Overall, Spanky's got a reasonably strong hand here in the west. He's also slightly pushing back at the east, trying to grab back territory. He's in this case going to run straight into the Maxim. That's not going to end up well for those Grenadiers. Pioneers retreat and tech up there for Spanky. Good arbeit. And we got a doctoral choice here for Park and his guard motor opening up there soon for heavy mortars and guards rather than infantry. Meanwhile, he's actually rushing up for the tank of his command. Could it be an AA half-track, a T-70, or even an H-86 there that is being planned in Park's mind? Who knows? Bit of shooting there. No aggression. Vasily forced to abandon this earth. Overall, though, Park is maintaining map control, but he's not quite pushing it as perhaps as hard in some sense as he could there versus Spanky. He could, for example, try and flank about. He can get behind Spanky's forces, catch some of the support ones, particularly the MD42 from an angle not quite expected. Though soon, of course, Park will be translating some of that early advantage into some vehicles and armour, which, of course, should help him out quite considerably. Like Mechanized company here. Not really a lot of engagement. Got some sandbags finally going down here for Park. Good work, good work. Now set up there, but they're going to need to gain the conscripts right there. And there we go. Getting the M5 half-track there for Mr. Park. And maximum in return. Which is enough. Park, for example, is not getting a mortar sort of maybe hit from but Spanky's positions a bit, force him to fall a bit back, maybe smoke out the MD42. And none of that. We've got Spanky there going for the 222. That's going to struggle there with the AA half-track, to put it mildly. I mean, that's going to go down very quickly unless Spanky plays it rather particularly. It's overall going to make things more difficult for Spanky to sort of play aggressively, at least for the time being, if Park plays it correctly. Of course, if Park makes a mistake with the AA half-track horse, I mean, that's going to be a lot of munitions down the drain, and that could also allow Spanky then to sort of play more aggressively. We'll, of course, have to see. The guys need to fall back now. They're down to 2 men. They've only killed 1 soul. That's not really a good engagement here for Spanky, and it could become much worse if it begins, for some losing the entire squad. First pushing up the left flank with the Maxim there. Might try and go after the German mortar there, since it's pretty much exposed. Looks like that might be what he's got in mind. And there we go, opening up. And there we go. 222 to the rescue, like the Punch Speedwagon. A half-tech is on the way here, the entire package, but it's not quite yet ready, so that should give Spanky some time to do some damage here. Though, of course, he's going to soon spot this and probably soon fall back and realise, he might be in for a bit of a rough ride. We also got a heavy mortar now out here for Park, so he's pulling up the heavier stuff. Good work, good work. Then he's trying to flank in his stop on the Maxim. Good work with the gun import and then flanking on the Maxim, suppressing it, getting some kills there. Good work in return, good work in return. There we go, A half to 2-2 falling back. But at the same time, note here that Park does not pursue too far, he does not overextend, and for example rushing into some kind of trap that Spanky could have prepared, who's meanwhile getting a pack 40. Probably will deal with this, but also any future vehicles that might arrive from the tank better tank command up ready now. And with the sound of the half-track on the rise and the MD42 crew beats it, they got no response to 450 caliber machine guns. Not much there to deal with it. If they had, say, been in a building, had access to incendiary rounds, they could actually perhaps have knocked it out if it sort of remained in the arc of fire, but otherwise, chances extremely slim, in particular without incendiary rounds. I mean, that's basically the only chance of him doing some damage to the AA half-track. And of course, they still have to survive the damage, so, I mean, really, out in the open, I know incendiary rounds, they got no chance. But there you go, guys, engaged, firing away there. Strafing the windows with heavy fire, hoping to catch any fascists, any Hitlerites. Just keep shooting, Yuri, even if they surrender. They are fascists and they must die. Every single one of them. Big engagement there, conscripts moving straight into the Grenadiers and the 222. We also got pack 40, so that's obviously been spotted here for Park's vehicle, and we do see the pack half-track then quickly being pulled back once he sees that. Not bad there. Quick roughneck though does take out a lot of the stuff in there of several conscript swaps there, so that gives Spanky there a bit of relief. Further check, if you could consider that, though it's still going to be some time for him to get out some armour due to the hard time he actually has holding a few points compared to Park, who's sort of aggressively pushing here and there, and so far making decent use of the A half-track.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
which the 222 certainly can't compete with. We got engineers on the way there, probably sort of help repair, maybe lay down some more mines, maybe mine sweepers. Either way, mines there by the victory point. Maximum cutting as well, we got the maximum there. Mortar firing away, the heavy mortar, the 120mm, not the heaviest much, so it's at the actual 160mm.
Combat engineers are standing by.
Little fun fact there. Only saw usage in the later stages of the war. But still, did exist. Quick shot there. Nothing further from here. No tech up. No, nothing.
We have mine detectors.
No use of Doxin either from Spanky at the moment. From Park, we've got the heavy mortar, and that's it. Really, there's been saying no guardsmen called up either. Got mortar tool here. I mean, the German mortar is definitely a bit undergunned here. That helps seems to be the heavy mortar doesn't quite, especially aim there for the medium mortar. Minor fighting here. Maximus already got the upper hand here with the A half jet. His skills will be completely in Park's favour. There we go. Could he maybe wipe out the Pioneers' retreat there? Or not, or not. Looks like he isn't quite going for it. We got another Pack 40 there to sort of help deal with the vehicles, the influx. Making some good progress here, but obviously the west side on the map has been sacrificed for the time being here to Park's forces. And we got a field gun on the way for Park now, so he's also going to worry that, you know, Spanky might soon be aiming for something heavier. He needs something to deal with it a bit more accurately and properly. Nothing further here besides that field gun. And once more here to save the day, the AA half-track, 2-2 already forced to fall back. The gun is not having too much of a good day either. You can see up with the Heymortar there firing away. And there we go, German Grenadier for Ultron. Tom's got the Heymortar ready to bombard away. Quite a bit of action here, looks like further pressure here. What? This is just sort of basically establish sort of a blocking zone here maybe. Force Spanky to sort of have to attack through a very defended line or sort of have to go up through here. That's possible, though you then should consider some mines around this area to sort of, you know, stall up any attacks there from Spanky. Spanky, meanwhile, the base is sort of just pushing harder and harder for these, so we're going to see a sort of a split there through the main road, dividing the two players' territories. And there you go, both sides have got mines down there on the roads. So far, though, this one has been spotted, and there you go, setting up the field gun to bombard it and knock it out. Can't quite hit it with an anti-tank gun. Bit difficult, but there you go. Mines been used bring up to deal with it. Oh, never mind, got set off there. Would have been awkward there, they'd just been right on the mine, it's about to sort of deal with it. Oh dear, that actually ended up badly for the engineers. Looks like the retreating time there. Park realised what situation they're about to set off there. No tech up. I mean, Park could also consider taking up, I mean, he's got Guard's motor. And thanks to some of the later changes, of course, he can just rush for a T-3045 if he wants to. Maybe sort of throw in an extra fuel cache, but overall he can certainly much faster go for it than he previously could have. Meanwhile, Spanking to the folks on these, and there we go. He got the A half track lit on fire and knocked out. Naught but a wreck left. And meanwhile, Mechanized armor company here. So when you hear Park is going for the last tier. Meanwhile, Spanky hasn't teched up at all. In fact, he's flooding manpower and fuel here. Not looking too good there, not looking too good. Now he's going to hit with T-35s very soon. In fact, looks rather bad. There you go, fresh produce in the west. He's sort of secured these, and now he feels confident moving towards here. It would seem. I suspect he's figuring, you know, this closer to his Park space will take more priority from Park, allowing him to push in the west, where it's further away from Park space. I mean, that's not a bad logic if that is the one he's working on. Otherwise, it's a bit hard to say what Spanky's doing. There we go, engaging the heavy mortar, getting off some good shots there. And so there's the heavy mortar there. Fits there quite well taught. Meanwhile, continuing pushing up there. Going to be some time before we get the T-35, but at the same time, it's not going to be too far either. We are probably talking about there 2.5 minutes. And Spanky has yet to take up and going for anything else besides the 2-pack 40s. Oh, there we go. He's finally taking up their 15 inches again. He does take up. Could have done that sooner, to be honest. He could also build some fuel caches, maybe sort of dealing with some of that floating manpower, turning that to a fuel surplus to sort of maybe faster take up and get out some armor. So slightly missed opportunity there, I think, from Spanky. Continues onwards. He's a bit aggressive here, perhaps a bit on the reckless side, with his tactics setting his mortar career on its own with no support, no screen, no nothing. To grab territory right under his opponent's nose.
Scout car awaiting orders. Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Bit of quiet there. Neither side so far looking for any larger engagement. They're sort of slowly just pushing at each other's perimeters, trying to figure out where the defense goes and when they begin hitting back. And there we go, though. Another engagement. Small one engineers versus Grenadiers. Got the Heavy Mortar, of course, joining in very quickly. 1 minute ago here for Pack before calling in the Heavy Mortar. Oh, not Heavy Mortar, but the T-3045. Grenadiers versus Conscript in the east. And no support call yet for Spanky. He's floating 1,000 manpower, almost under fuel. Come on, Spanky, use your resources. Go for, I don't know, Panzer Grenadiers or something. Well, of course, take up with fuel cache. Oh, lost the 222 there. That seems a bit wasteful, to be honest, by Spanky. Almost like he was just basically throwing it away. That was, well, rather wasteful. Grenadiers versus Engineers. Can't get caught on in the open by the MD42. Pioneers and Pack 40 spotting away here, plus minor engagement here. Max doing quite well then, starting up the Grenadiers, of course, with the more supporting Grenadiers. Maxwell could be cleared out, and we've got a Mechanized assault group, which has been some times we've seen a Mechanized assault group here, but there we go. Spanky's calling up, full of mean-spirited Panzer Grenadiers ready to roll over those communists, but at the same time, Park can right now go for the T-35, and he does so. Spanky gets to build a support call. This could prove to be quite a crucial moment. Almost got the MD42 there, but Pioneers are rushing the Heavy Mortar, forcing it back. And now the Maxims pull back, so there's nothing for the Mechanized assault group to do as it charges through the terrain. The 250 half-track being the light infantry half-track, lighter Schützenpanzerwagen, was meant for reconnaissance elements, but was basically discontinued after a certain point, and the chassis was actually used towards armoured cars, with the reconnaissance battalion just receiving regular 251 half-tracks, so the 250s. Demo charge there. Nice little pursuit. At the same time, we got a flank up here from the Grenadiers, trying to hit through here. Cheeky, a bit rare we actually see that kind of move, but it's not bad at all, in particular because it is so rare. As long as he doesn't get spotted like he did here, but then again he seems to be paying here for a push up there, so this could actually work out nicely for Spanky because there's just this tiny little gateway infantry you can creep through. It's not really utilised a lot, but in this case Spanky's making good use of it. Thumbs up, thumbs up. We got the T-35 breaking through the eastern side, and it's time here for the midgame analysis. Counter chasers. Spanky's got a slightly larger force here. He's finally building up the support court, though. I just have to say that he's about damn time there. He's got a Mechanized assault group, but you know he's rather lacking in armor compared to his opponent's got the T-35 out on the field. In theory, Park here could actually ruin the construction of the support court, forcing Spanky to have to do something else. Maybe even wait for a Tiger, which I would not say is going to be the best situation because Park's then just going to flood the field with armor. Maybe even tank destroyer, so when the Tiger comes, it'll be very little and on its own. There's definitely some problems there for Spanky in that sense. He needs to get it up no matter the cost. He needs to prepare to defend it no matter the cost until it's ready, so he can get out some armor here and basically stall and delay any T-35s that might try and strike at it. Of course, could try and use the Mechanized assault group, sort of trying to stick all the way behind and sort of hit some more exposed targets, maybe clear out the field gun and the Heavy Mortar that way, forcing the T-35 to double back. That could actually work out there, perhaps, if probably actually they might lose the half-track at the very least in the process. The Panzer Grenadiers should be able to survive. Otherwise, a few extra mines here and there I think could do good for Spanky, and more pressure on the left side. Not so much else to say there, though I do feel the support corps is a bit laid up. For Park, needs to keep up the pressure, could consider throwing in some Guardsmen or another Heavy Mortar. Another option would be, you know, setting up some caches to sort of further increase the fuel income and overall increase the number of tanks you can sort of get at any one time. Mines would also be a very good choice, you know, for Park, sort of slowing down any attacks from Spanky, bleeding out and say catching any armor he might eventually get, and so you making it much easier for Park's weapons to deal with. So I mean that would be a good choice. On top of that, another option could be in sort of longer run, maybe getting a Katyusha, bombarding, rocketing away, in particular for the Pack 40s. That could be quite helpful. Of course, another hay mortar could also do that decently, since that gave him quite a decent mortar battery to fire away with. Otherwise, more pressure on the left flank would be good. Trying to really catch some units, maybe steal some weapons there for Spanky. That would be really good for Park. But otherwise, keep up the aggression, keep up the tempo, the pressure, and lay down some mines. And try to flank in. Let's turn here, and there you go. He's going straight in here, crashing straight through the arc, leaving nothing but dust. Meanwhile, the Spanky continues. Clearly, Park was not expecting that, but in this case, the Maxim is able to stall it up. Mortified joins in, and not good there for Spanky. And I said, oh no. He's not sending off the demo charge, probably because his tank was so close. That's actually a huge waste there for Park. He probably could have wasted 2 Grenadier scopes at the very least, or at least 1, but he didn't do it. Looks like the Grenadiers might actually just be able to get away from that. My lord, and there we go, we got the 250 still striking behind here. Good work, good work. We'll sort of hit some softer targets, clear them out while the tank and everything else sort of occupy on the front line. El pulls back here, perhaps doesn't quite feel as confident as one might have imagined. Still not bad, not bad. And finally got that one up. Could go for a Panzer IV. The department would say Stooge, so help the T-35s a bit more directly. Quick rough there, but ultimately stopped here by the wall of machine gun fire. That Park can basically present versus Spanky right there. Now the MD-42 is flanking in. T-35 still about there to help. 180, almost 190 munitions there for Park. No real use there. Mortar range down. MD-42 suppressing the Maxim, but ultimately can go forced away. Oh dear! Trying to rifle grenade instead gets crashed by the T-35. A horrible fate there. Pack 40 opens up, forces back the T-35. Meanwhile, left flank's got not so much action. Still got the Panzer on the side, the half-track engineers constantly moving in. And is moving ahead there. T-35 shoots. Pack 40 moving up slowly to support. Stub on the way for Spanky. Sturmgeschütz. Meanwhile, half-track assault group moving up to deal with them. A bit of damage here. And there we go. Ultimately forcing away the rations there. 250 is going to need some repairs. Looks like Park is forced to fall back there. No mines laid down. Nothing sort of again stalled Spanky's advance once he's going through the initial line of defense. We got the mortar, the field gun here. That's about it.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory.
And we got the stew ready.
You guys, listen to me if you want to live.
Quick strike there, quick strike. Oh dear. Flying hard, paid with his life there. And Park getting close to be able to actually call in another T-35 here, another minute. Another T-35 versus one Stug. That could actually give Park quite an advantage, where it's a bit more aggressive. There you go! Oh, good lord! Heavy losses there, heavy losses. Lots of Grenadiers dead from 2 squads in this case round. Doesn't quite wipe them, but certainly leaves them almost wiped. The T-35 to pull back into the pressure of both the Pack 40 and the Sturmgeschütz. Meanwhile, Soviet Air Force is marking out the Stug for easier targeting and eat more damage. Nothing here from the Mechanized Armor Company yet. Now perhaps Spanky's knowing from the Ostwind, the Panzer IV, could be he might be planning here for, I don't know, a Tiger I guess, if it's not any of these. There's options either way. Pack 40 there, almost done by the rations, but ultimately though, Spanky was able to put a stop to that. Permanently. Multiple then the Panzer Grenadiers. You burst into flames and ultimately Counter was when that one hands down, almost got a wipe there actually. Damn close there, damn close. Max and MG42 fight here, quick rifle grenade. Axe crews active, a bit bunched up, but doesn't quite work out. There we go, another hay mortar, and the Grenadiers are pinned down. Meanwhile, T-35 strikes in, and we got another one on the way here. It's 2 T-35s versus 1 Stug against the packs. Almost got the MD-42 here, but Stuke and Pak-40 able to threat there to the T-35 forcing away, and bombardment from the field gun, trying to silence the Pak-40 crew. Almost worked, almost, but still the Pak-40 crew escapes the bombardment. More further fighting on the west side. Mortar crew a bit exposed, going to do counter-attacking. Good work, good work. Maxim continues. T-35 runs about. Almost got the second one ready. Almost. Still nothing from Spanky. Tiger seems increasingly the more likely option. They certainly got the command point toward Almost. They're still going to take him at the very least. With the current rate of fuel acquisition, we're going to be at least talking 10 minutes. Which is not too good. There, that could give more time to bring up further armor of his own, really. One tank destroyer or even a Katyusha. I mean, a lot of options there for Park. Less so for Spanky if he's aiming for the Tiger. Here Panzer's in trouble. T-35 engineers with flamethrowers, Maxim's field guns. Spanky quickly losing territory to Park. Park though still... Well, we're seeing a lot more minis being utilised though. It seems to be more used for marked vehicle without really achieving anything with it, which just means it's a waste rather than no mines or some kind of other expenditure. Continues to blast. Where we got the Pentamat machine gun up here for Spanky. Bit of added anti-infantry firepower, good. Now the T-35 striking in there, but there you go, Pak-40 and Stuke. Then again, if the T-35 can get behind both of them, that would be good for Park. There we go, good hit on the Stuke, good hit. At the same time here, oh, rushing straight between two Pak-40s, getting close to the gun. These might get Panther faster. Oh dear, oh dear. And abandoned. Oh, that didn't work out there. There we go, cooked it up. Constantly in overwhelming the Pak-40 there. Good, not good. MD-40 holding up the sword cannon there, and T-35 needs to go away, Yeah, bit of some nasty loss there on both sides. We should get out the best of it. So far, I mean, Park is still maintaining most of the map. Versus Spanky, who's only got the very edges of the south. Got the Maxim there. Small victory for Spanky. There's a lot of conscripts have died, calling a Katyusha, more conscripts in as well. Another Maxim too. Still no mines still from Park though, not a single mine there. There's just a demo charge, really. Good hit. Still some time away from the Tiger there for Spanky. And the 250 half-track, it's not really achieving anything. Basically, it seems like Spanky just called in initially and then he's just stopped caring about it since it can't really do anything. It can't gain experience, it's got no weapons of its own. It's just there to transfer troops around. Can't even do that. Really much either well, so there's not really much their usage for it. Quick push. Spanky causing a bit of havoc there amongst Park's lines. Those Grenadiers are quickly find themselves on there by the Maxim and the conscripts. There we go, rushed off. Where's the so held nicely? You got the T-35, you got the Katyusha ready here to bombard and murder some fascists. Of course, the question is how will Park actually utilize it? So Spanky's managed to capture a bit of the terrain here, fuel point and the likes, which should speed up the Tiger decently. In which case now we're talking about 2 minutes, 2.5. And there we go, Rocket Grenade versus Maxim, 2 doesn't do the Maxim, MD-42 grenades here, ending up doing a lot more damage to the Maxim. mortar moving up, concentrating to the Grenadiers here, flame first and lights, but still they're bunched up. Good Rifle Grenade here, or good mortar hit, could do a lot of damage, in this case does not. And there you go, Katyusha barrage straight after the MD-42 and other units there. Wow! Doesn't quite hit, of course. In this case, I do think they've been actually close before firing, thus decreasing the scatter, over increasing the accuracy then and the lethality of the Katyusha, but looks like he wasn't quite feeling that confident to actually fire at that closer range. I do feel that might have been a bit of a miss. Losing away, maximum opening up, suppressing. Minor damage as well, getting very close to the target there for Spanky, very close. Ever so close. Grenadiers stepping up there. Through the ruins, through the mess. Actually needs to fall back, low on health. And quickly getting shot to pieces there.
The enemy has cut off a sector.
Overall, seems like Park's having a hard time figuring out what to do next. He's a bit losing momentum, and he needs to here to Spanky. Just keep pushing harder and harder.
Engineer standing by.
Rather relentlessly, actually. But there you go, defense is prepared. Spanky assault here is not going to wang up, repulsed. But with no losses to Spanky, well, except Jürgen, but no one really cares about him. Alright, stuffs him back to the heart. He's actually making some use for it again. Katyusha firing, and looks like he's actually able to kill something. Just not really with the Katyusha. Seems to have been the heavy mortar which did the trick there, almost effectively fleet too. So basically, heavy mortar and the Katyusha versus an enemy mortar might be seen as overkill. Further fighting here, a bit of running back through the building doors. Quickly firing off a few shots before the Russians can really respond. T-35 moving in there. And now getting the initial fire, this will be seeing a bit more of a spread approach there from Park. Spanky very close to be able to score on the target. He basically now just lacks the population to do so. At the same time, another flank assault there. Fuel cache finally going out from Park, though it just feels a bit late. And he's actually gone for Pantrax. He's gone on a raid in the rear lines. Well done there. Well done by Spanky. A bit rarer to see there, but nicely done there. That should also give him a bit more focus on the rear, because he'd forgotten about that. Got the issue moving in, but there's several Grenadiers coming in nearby buildings. Panzer was out in the open, but forced back, so there we go. All of a sudden, the units here are sandwiched between two sides as the assault continues. Pressure on all sides. Tiger now called in. Chaos reigns, and Park might be just a bit confused here. But he's handling it decently. And there we go. Now with everything sort of pointed towards the rear, the Tiger strikes from the front there. So nicely executed, nicely executed. Then it is falling back. We've still got Pioneers though, causing a bit of havoc here, a bit of chaos, a bit of a mess. Field gun finally turned for that. Still been some time they're allowing the Tiger for several easy shots there versus Park's troop. Field gun sitting up there, almost ready, almost ready. A bit too late. The T-35 coming back. He also got the issue 5. The damage is all being done there. He's taking the area here. He's also done some damage to the rear, and he's got the Katyusha denying Park there. Vital artillery. Now he's actually rushing in the T-35 for some reason here. Misclick perhaps, I don't know. Either way though, very close there for the T-35 before the Pack 40 or something else to start, and he's lucky he did just get panzer-fausted. There we go, trying to silence the Pack 40 with the field gun. There we go, in fact cutting Park there off from his resources. Very well done, very well done. Silk though I think could have done a bit more. He could have used this half-track and this 2 again from the rear. I think he could have done a lot more damage, could have caught the T-35 on a much worse position, plus the SU-5, but looks like Spanky did not feel like committing it, instead of using the Silk to support the Tiger's advance. Oh, that demo chart's still not going off here. Oh, there we go. Finally, but it's simply too late. And ultimately, you know, should have done it earlier when all those kind of is running past it. That could have been a very well game-winning move for Park. Still got a field gun there, shooting some boxes to bits and pieces. As you can they're slowly rolling ahead. Then it is Panzer's flanking, but he can stop here by engineers and conscripts hold up nicely. Oh dear, Park's front is completely collapsing here. Good use of flanking there by Spanky, doing quite a bit of damage. Veteran 3 on the Panzer gun, it is. Field gun cleared out. He's down to the T-35 and the SU-85. And the T-35 has definitely seen better days. Good hits there from the Panzer Schrecks, the Raketen Panzerbüchse. SU-85 manages to escape here the wrath of Spanky and the Wehrmacht, which is pretty damn close there. And now Spanky's out to gain most of the map. And he's got both a Tiger and a Stug, a potent combo, plus most of the machine guns, at least of the Veteran 3 kind, and a nice chunk of infantry. The sadly, Park things are getting a bit sour here.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Fresh push up the west here, but maximum under the control here of Spanky, quickly putting a stop to an advance there from Park. Veteran 3 maximum returning to fire. And there you go, quickly killing those Fritzes off. That's certainly most joining in. Territory is barely existent for Park now. Force-wise, he's also behind. So the situation here is looking rather grim for Park, rather grim. I'm not sure we can sort of pull this off. The lack of mines basically making it easy again for Spanky to sort of move around the way he wanted to. Could easily flank about there, causing havoc. Could also easily advance. I mean, not a lot there to sort of really stall up any advance from the German player. There you go, Tiger advances. Oh dear, moving straight through the terrain. Foliage, SU-5 forward to flank. Could have been pushing before Chris first stage, but we have to not do that, but oh well. Stug moving in. Tiger taking shots, got the pack 40 there, also moving in. Should be able to save the time. There you go. Another good hit then. Tiger, there you go. Veterans 1, target weak point available. Target weak point available. Plus 22 on the pack 40, in range of fire. Got again another Mark B, but there we go. The T-55 is cooked up. There's only the HD-5 left there. Target weak point from Sturmgeschütz. Target weak point. Main gun destroyed. Main gun also destroyed on the Stug. Crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Stug needs to fall back close to T2 there, but low on health. And he's only got his machine gun to defend itself with. Quick Molotov there, I'm not entirely sure why he went for it. And there you go, Panzer's rushing forwards, only maximum covering. And there you go, conscripts getting shredded. And no survivors, like artillery barrels called in as well. Right around the engineers trying to get the fuel point back. And GG there, GG. An intense fight in some ways, but also in some parts it was also a much more quiet fight, because a lot of the time the players were sort of trying to figure out where to strike, when to strike, how to strike. I mean, I was sort of really rushing into sort of really, just keep up the tempo there. So a bit of a slower paced fight, a bit more of a brewing fight, if you will. But to an extent, I think Park should have been more aggressive, and he definitely should have made more use of mines, and its timing of the demo charge in the end really was, well, off. Had he used it early again, I think he would have done a lot more damage. He could have crippled Spanky much more severely, so that was a bit of a problem. I also think the lack of fuel caches hurt Park. Well, yeah, I think the lack of mines and sort of further damage was really the worst part there. Plus, he could have benefited, I think, from guards, rifle infantry, and DPs. That made it a bit easier to sort of help deal with Spanky's infantry. Plus, he could have worked there to sort of help versus the Stug and the Tiger. So that was a bit lacking as well there. Spanky didn't make too much use of Doctrine RB space or the Mechanized assault group, a bit of artillery in the Tiger, but that's still more than what Park did with his Doctrine, I suppose. Well, more or less the same. I mean, that could have been a bit better use of Doctrine there, but overall nicely done there. Good use of artillery by both sides. Spanky sort of held out. He was just sort of pushing here and there, but also the good use of the flanks from time to time really put some pressure. And that one with the half track with the Panzerx, and it's really did a number there on Park, and that probably sort of, perhaps gave Spanky right their victory, because it basically threw Park's line into confusion, because all of a sudden there's a half-track rushing going for his weakest units, doing some serious damage. And of course that Park then sort of have to pull away troops and attention from the front line, attacking deal with the rear, and then allowed Spanky to sort of push through this. That was a very nicely executed flank assault there by Spanky, followed up with a proper head-on assault, taking advantage of the confusion sown by the flank assault. So that was very nicely done there by Spanky, very nicely done. I do think he had some armour out sooner versus Park, perhaps a bit more better chance in doing some more damage. And again, Park overall could have been more aggressive, tried to flank, sort of tried to focus his T-35 instead of just sitting in piecemeal, which overall made it easier for the Germans to handle them. So there were definitely, I think, some problems there from Park. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it gives you ideas for matches. If you did want to subscribe, tell a friend, share it with everyone. If not, send a new player and some feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Ding. Cheers, thank you for watching, and hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye.